Okay. Hari Om, everyone. If you can hear me and see me, please raise your hand. Okay, that's a good sign. All right, thank you. Okay. So let's start with the invocation, and then we'll get started with the class. All right. So please share the invocation. Thank you. Okay. वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा या कुन्देन्दुतुषारहारधवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करप्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः अज्ञानान्धस्य लोकस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. Hari Om, everyone. Good morning, and for those of you tuning in from elsewhere, good whatever time of day it is for you. My pranams to our Puja Gurudev, the Guru who really brought this, the interest in this wisdom down from the Himalayas and away from Kashi into the hands of people, normal people like you and me, to Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, who is the inspiration behind so many huge activities that happen all around the world. The Chinmaya Mission you would have heard of, Chinmaya International Foundation, which is where we are sitting right now, and so many other projects that are going on around the world that are benefiting people's lives every day, such as this newly started Chinmaya University, which is also sharing a campus with Chinmaya International Foundation right now, which is where I work. I'm right now teaching Sanskrit grammar, Vedanta, social justice. So many various subjects are there. So I'm so happy to be part of that. So my pranams to that Guru who has been the inspiration for all of these things. And so now this is week number 7. And in 6 weeks, what we have covered thus far is an introduction to language in general, the biggest picture possible. Language is absolutely everything we saw. And we zoomed into Sanskrit. And even Sanskrit we saw is so vast that there's no way we can know all of it. But nevertheless, we can break it down into smaller parts. So we broke down Sanskrit into smaller parts, Sanskrit language that is, into smaller parts, which is, we've broken it up by theme, we broke it up by texts, and those texts we broke up into sentences, and those sentences we broke up into words. Words we can even break up into Prakriti and Purusha, Purusha, Prakriti and Pratyaya. If you remember, Prakriti is our root, our base, so the verbal root or the nominal root, the nominal stem, and the Pratyaya, which is the suffix that we attach to these things in order to make them into words. So we broke it all the way down to this far, and then we took it even further and we broke it down into individual letters also. So the science of grammar is about taking apart the words that you see in front of you, understanding where they come from so that you can get a deeper insight into their meaning, and putting together words so that when you create the language, you create it properly. So thus far, we have now witnessed the birth of our dhatu. We witnessed the birth of our root. Last time, we got so far as to see our first sutra, which was, if you remember, Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha. And this sutra, it's the first sutra that we saw, and it's a wonderful introduction into sutras in general. That sutra, Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha, means all of those sets of sounds which are part of the list that begins with Bhu are called as dhatus. So we have this list, which is also known as the Dhatu Patha of Panini. And that Dhatu Patha consists of 1,943 of these little roots, these little sets of sounds. And so this sutra, which is found in the Ashtadhyayi 1.3.1, if you remember from last time, and we will see the whiteboard again, and we'll pick up from where we left off. But that sutra 1.3.1, Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha, tells us that all of those 1,943 sets of sounds which are in this list that are listed out in Panini's Dhatu Patha are also given the name dhatu. We have now named it. It has been born. Our little set of sound has been born. And now that it's been born, we have to first name it. That was what we saw last time. That's the first question that the doctor asks the parents. So what is the name of this being? So we named it. Now, one sutra, Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha, is used to name them as dhatus. But that's not the only sutra that does this naming procedure. There is one other sutra that does this naming procedure. So let's get right into it. I mean, we have actually entered the study. We have entered Shastra, what we call as Shastra. And Shastra is this word which has many meanings, but basically that Shastra, it means Shasti, iti Shastram. That means that thing which disciplines your mind. And disciplines your mind doesn't mean that suddenly you are like in a prison or something like that. No, disciplines your mind means that it gives your mind a particular framework. It inserts a framework into your mind through which to see your discipline, through which to see your subject. So the framework that we are putting into our mind right now through this particular Shastra is the framework called Vyakarana, which means the framework of Sanskrit grammar. And this grammatical framework allows us to see all of Sanskrit language classified in particular ways so that we can break it apart and put it together very easily. That's what this framework does for us. So we have already now entered into the Shastra by seeing our first sutra. Now, that I told you the etymological definition of Shastra, but I should tell you the conventional definition of Shastra also. Shastra itself refers to a specific discipline, any particular systematic approach to knowledge. That's what Shastra means. It is a systematic approach to knowledge. And so knowledge, of course, as you would know, is of many types. Knowledge comes in all forms. You can have knowledge of the sun, knowledge of particles, knowledge of the earth, knowledge of your body. All of these knowledges are classified in different ways and they're given different names. So you have the knowledge of, say, celestial bodies that we call as astronomy. the knowledge of your body, that's called biology. Knowledge of the Earth's body, that's called geology, and so on and so on. And so there's so many ologies that we have. So these are all different subject areas, and they give you a particular systematic approach to that particular knowledge. If you say, I want to know my body, and you start exploring it yourself without the understanding of biology, then you will be lost. It's very difficult to understand how the body works if you have to start from scratch yourself. Please come. Yes, welcome. Okay, so therefore, what we have done here, or what a shastra is, what a shastra does for you is, it gives you that very systematic approach to the knowledge so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And once your mind runs along that track, you find that the way in which you are now seeing that field of knowledge, whichever shastra it is you are studying, is exceptionally clear. It's perfectly done. So a shastra is that thing which is a complete system of knowledge, and also a systematic approach to that knowledge, which gives your mind a framework for understanding whatever it is that you are understanding. So here we are understanding Sanskrit language, and by entering into the sutras, last time we saw our first sutra, we are now giving our minds that framework. So we are now entering into the Shastra, and we have already entered last week. So now no more introduction to Shastra. Let's just get into it finally. So if you can share my screen, please, Srijit ji. We'll pick up from where we left off. Okay, great. So the last thing we saw was Bhuvadayo Dhatavaha. This is one sutra, as I mentioned. And this sutra tells us that all of those things in that list, starting with bhu, are called dhatus. Now you're like, okay, you've repeated that 500 times. Let's go, let's move on. I should also explain the reason I repeat these things so many times is because if you hear it 3, 4, 5, 6 times, then it becomes more natural for you to hear. This is what we call in Sanskrit as sanskaraha. Sanskaraha. One sanskara is just it's a little residue that I leave on your mind. I touch your mind like this with the word, and when my finger comes off of your mind, it leaves a little fingerprint. It leaves a little residue in your mind. That residue of this word that I have said is called sanskar. So I have given you that now by saying it once, but you know, on a camera lens, when you touch it once, you see that really annoying fingerprint. And if you touch it 5 times, then it just gets darker and darker and darker. That's called a sanskara in Sanskrit. So I'm giving you that by saying these words over and over and over, so that when you leave the webinar, it sticks in your mind for a little bit longer period of time before something else wipes that screen of your mind. So I hope that it stays in your mind. That's why I say things 5 or 6 times. So here we are. This is our first sutra. Now, this is not the only sutra that names things as dhatus. This sutra is there only to name those things which have been said by Panini in his dhatu patha, in that list of 1943 or approximately 2000 dhatus. It's only to name those things as dhatu. This sutra only does that. It doesn't do anything else. So what about dhatus that come from other places? What about dhatus that are not there in the dhatu patha? In order to name those things, we have another sutra. And so you can see all this here. Maybe, okay. I'm not going to explain those brown things just yet. Let me get to the next sutra and I'll tell you about that. The next sutra is called Sanadyanta Dhatavaha. Sanadyanta Dhatavaha. This is the second out of 2. There are only 2. This is the second sutra that names things as dhatu. This is 3.1.32 in the Ashtadhyayi. This sutra says that there are 12 different pratyayas, okay? There are 12 different suffixes that we can attach to a dhatu, which once attached create a new dhatu. So this one says sanadyanta. Okay, now there is something called sanadi, which is there here. Sanadi. Now sanadi means that list beginning with sun. And bhu adi we saw in the other sutra is that list beginning with bhu. Now this list, sanadi, is a list of 12 suffixes. These 12 suffixes, when you attach them to a dhatu, which has already been named as a dhatu because of bhuvadayo dhatavaha, whatever they form together is now also again named as a dhatu. So we have two kinds of dhatus now. We have those dhatus which are stated already by Panini. And remember, dhatu means verbal root. We have those verbal roots which are stated directly by Panini in his dhatu patha. So there you can see in that first little section, we have this thing directly said by Panini. Now, Panini only has a limited number of texts. So when we say directly said by Panini, we don't mean that sometime in his life, Panini said this with his mouth. No. What we mean is directly given to us by Panini in his texts. So those dhatus which are directly given to us by Panini have a name. That name is aupadeshika. That's there, that first little line there. Aupadeshika. That means those things which are directly said by Panini. Aupadeshika comes from the word upadesha. Upadesha means the teaching. So that which is directly in the teaching is known as aupadeshika. This is a derivative noun from upadesha. It means those things which are directly given in the teaching. Aupadeshika. So these aupadeshika dhatus are 1943 in number, and they are found only in Panini's dhatu patha. All right. Now we move on to sanadyanta dhatavaha. These ones are not directly said by Panini. Okay? They are made by us. We take the dhatu that is said by Panini and add a little masala to that dhatu in the form of these 12 pratyayas beginning with sun. And I'll tell you what they are in a second. And whatever is made, that new concoction we have made out of Panini's original dhatu and this one sanadi pratyaya, that concoction is also called a dhatu. But it has a special term, which is atideshika dhatu. Atideshika. Now, atideshika, this word means something that comes as an atidesha. And atidesha means something that's outside the teaching, but that we bring in ourselves. So those things which are outside the teaching that we have brought in ourselves in order to make a new dhatu are known as atideshika dhatus. So we have these two types. Now, how many sanadyanta dhatus are? Anta means end. So sanadyanta means that thing which ends with those pratyayas beginning with sun. Those 12. Sanadi anta. Sanadyanta. So those dhatus which end with one of the 12 pratyayas that I will now tell you, beginning with sun, are called sanadyanta. So now these 12 pratyayas are there, and they attach to those 1943 dhatus. So 1943 times 12 is, anybody? Type it in your chat. Everybody's like, oh my God, oh my God. What? We wait. Well, it's approximately 2,400 as you can imagine, because it's, or sorry, 24,000, because it's 12 times approximately 2,000. So, okay, thank you. 24. 23,316. 23316. 23,316 different new dhatus that we can make. Okay, you can close this now. Thank you. Stop typing. We got it. Thank you very much. So you can make 23,316 new dhatus from these sanadi pratyayas. Out of these pratyayas, there are a couple of pratyayas that you can attach to a noun. But as soon as you attach it to a noun, that also becomes a sanadyanta because now it is ending with one of those san pratyayas. So that noun attached to one of these sanadi pratyayas is also now known as a dhatu. It becomes a verbal root. So now let me tell you what these 12 sanadyanta, these sanadi pratyayas are. Although it's not important for us to memorize right now, so I'm not writing it, I'm just going to tell you what they are. They are san, obviously, that's the first one because it's called sanadi. Kyach, kyach. Then you have kamyach, san, kyach, kamyach. Kyash, then kyang, kyash, kyang, then quip. Quip is another one. Then you have rich, that starts with that rna, rich. Then ring, that starts with the rna as well. Yak, young, aya, and iyang. You have these 12 pratyayas. Now you're like, oh, you just said them. Great. What use is that to us? It'll be very useful later, not right now. That's why I'm doing it quickly. These 12 pratyayas, they're 12 little suffixes that you put at the end of something. When you attach them, then whatever it is that they're attached to becomes named again as a dhatu. Okay? Enough. So this is about naming the dhatu. We have now named it. Now, as you can see, because these sanadi pratyayas attached not just to the dhatus that Panini gave us, but also to nouns, they can make an infinite number of dhatus. There is no limit to the number of verbal roots you can make in Sanskrit. And as I explained before, the reason for this is because the way in which we see the entire universe is made up of action. The universe is made up of action. It's made up of little movements that are constantly happening all around you. It just looks like there's a desk in front of me, but this is just one big mass of vibrating particles. It's just the whole universe is made up of action. And therefore, how can there be a limit to the number of actions we can express in our language? Infinite. There's an infinite number of actions we should be able to express in our language. These little mind-blowing facts, they come in every once in a while. That's what I call as manasphotanam, which means mind-blowing. Okay, so we have seen now sanadyanta dhatavaha. Now our dhatu is named. It has been born and it has been named. When a baby is born and you name it, there's one other thing that you immediately have to do. If anybody has been in the room where a baby is being born, then you know that when a baby is born, that baby is very dirty, right? That baby is surrounded by all kinds of gooey stuff and that cord that can, so that baby is very dirty. So the first thing you have to do, now, okay, you've named it, that's wonderful, but you have to clean it up. That's step number one, is cleaning it up. As soon as you get a baby, you got to clean it. Similarly, our dhatu has been born. But now that it's been born, we have to clean it up. It's actually quite dirty. And I'll explain what that means in a second. But before we get there, I thought it might be nice. Now you can close the screen for a second. I'll talk for 1 or 2 minutes. I thought it might be nice to give you one or two examples of dhatus that come from Panini and dhatus that we create ourselves so that you know what we're working with. If you don't have the dough in your hands, then no matter how much somebody shows you how to make a pizza, you'll say, that's not satisfying. I want to do it myself. So let me give you some examples so that you can actually have something to play with in your head as we go on. If you have that one of those books, the Dhatu Patha book, if you have that book, it's a slightly fatter book that I had you order at the beginning. If you have it, then please open it to page number 42. Page number 42. Which, as we all know, if we have read the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is the meaning of life. 42 is said to be the meaning of life. There's this machine that's there that's working on this problem of what is the meaning of life, and it works on it for millions and millions of years. And at the end, when it's finally done, it reveals the meaning of life. And so they ask, so what is the meaning of life finally? And he says, the meaning of life is 42. So please turn to page 42 in that book, which is that slightly yellow, that's a yellow colored book that's called Prakriyanusari Dhatu Patha. If you don't have it, don't worry at all. I will be uploading a PDF of that book this week. So within maybe 1 or 2 days, I will upload that PDF. So that's in process right now of being PDF'd. So please bear with me. In a couple of days, that'll be uploaded as a PDF. But for now, if you have it, then turn to that page. If you don't have it, then don't worry. I will explain everything verbally as well. So if you have that book in front of you, then when you see this page number 42, you will see lots of columns. You'll see 5 columns that are there. Or actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns that are there. The first column is just a number. That's the number of the dhatu. So don't worry about that. The second column is the actual dhatu itself as it is born. The dhatu that is there as soon as it's born, before it's cleaned up. So we have one example of a dhatu, chate. Chate. So now Srijitji, please share my screen one more time so that people who don't have the book can see as well. It's working? Okay, excellent. So let's give us an example here. I'm writing it at the bottom of the screen, so keep watching. Oh, it's not showing it properly. Okay, I have to be a little slow when I write. You have this dhatu chate. All right, this is an example of a dhatu. And it means to perform some kind of a rite, some kind of ritual. Then we have this example, ata. Ata, here's another example of a dhatu. Ata. Then, and this means to continuously run something, or to run something without stopping. That's ata. Then we have another dhatu, pat. Patl, like this. This dhatu means to fall, to fall. Okay, these are 3 examples. And then I'll give you a couple examples that are not actually on this page, but that are nevertheless very, very common and important to know. So we have one more example. Patha. This means to read or to study. Also found in Panini's Dhatu Patha. Yeah, just turn it off completely. Is it off? You just turn it off, no problem. Okay. Then here's another example. Come on. The iPad doesn't seem to be responding. Ah, there we go. Rniya. Rniya. This one means to lead or to carry. Okay, so now we have some examples. These are, what's up? No, it's okay. Yeah, actually tell them to turn it down, please. Okay, so these are some examples of dhatus given to us by Panini in the Dhatu Patha. We have Chate, Ata, Patlar, Patha, and Rniya. Yes. Now, these are examples that Panini has given us, directly said by Panini. Therefore, they are known as Aupadeshika Dhatus. Makes sense. That's what we just discussed. But now, there's another type, which I'll give you on a new screen here. The screen is appearing for me. It's not appearing there. Stop the share and start again. Okay, there we go. New screen. Now let's take this example that we saw of pat. This is an Aupadeshika Dhatu. And let us add sun. Now sun carries with it so pat, remember, means to read or to study. And sun carries with it the meaning of desiring to do that action, whatever it is that you are adding it to. So we have added sun to pat. And when you combine these two, then you get one new thing, which looks like this. Pipatisha. When you combine pat with sun, they undergo some kind of a reaction, some kind of chemical interaction between them, and both of them get transformed and they mix with each other and they form pipatisha. Now pipatisha is what is known as a sanadyanta dhatu. This is also termed as a dhatu because it ends with sun. And this is not given to us anywhere by Panini. There is nowhere in all of Panini's works where he gives us this word, this root, pipatisha. But it means to desire to read or study. So that gives us a little bit more. It gives us something new to work with. And this is also named as a dhatu. And therefore functions exactly like all other dhatus. The way Panini works is, he names something in order to tell us what to do with that thing. A name is never useless. He doesn't just name it and say, yeah, this thing is named this, but don't ever worry about it again. That's not how he does. He says, this thing is named this particular thing, like dhatu. All these things are called as dhatu because I want you to do with them everything you do to a dhatu. So in order to get you to perform these certain operations that he lists out in the Ashtadhyayi on a particular thing, all he does is he changes the name of that thing. As soon as it is named, those operations suddenly apply to this thing. He'll say, perform operation XYZ on a dhatu. Well, I don't know what a dhatu is. So he says, whoa, these things, these are dhatus. As soon as he names them, you say, okay, XYZ suddenly apply here. That's how he makes these connections. So now we have pipatisha, which is an example, okay, of a new dhatu. Okay, so that's enough examples of dhatus. So now that we have seen this, the first thing we have to do, once the dhatu has been born and named, is to clean it up. When I say clean it up, I mean, because you might be wondering, well, we saw these examples of these dhatus here, chate, ata, patlar, patha, aniya, right? The question is, well, what's so dirty about them that we have to clean them up? Well, not all of this will be useful to us when we are performing our operations. And when I say useful to us, I mean, not all of this will be what we speak when we talk in Sanskrit. We don't use that, we don't use patlar. That lr at the end is not something that we use when we talk. We only use pat. So we say patati, which means he falls. So when you say patlar, that little lr there is an extra thing that is not used when we speak. So we have to clean it up. We have to get rid of it. We have to bathe the dhatu. And when you bathe it, you find all these extra little particles float away in the water. And you get only that little clean, shiny baby dhatu that we actually use in speech. Okay? So the process of cleaning it up is what we're about to learn. How to clean a dhatu. How to make it so that it is in the form that we finally use. So we might as well start. Now here's one thing I want to tell you. I have now told you how to name a dhatu and what various dhatus are. And I feel that it's quite simple, but I know that as a teacher, when you feel things are quite simple, it's not always the same as when you are a student. When you're a student, you're like, what is this you're giving me? I don't understand. I'm lost. That happens many times. Which is why every step of the way, I try to give you some bigger context so you always know into the picture into this big jigsaw puzzle where you are putting your piece right now. So I'm trying to always give you that picture. But it's not always the case that you will fully understand what's going on every step of the way because you don't already have the big picture. So we have to still make the jigsaw puzzle one piece at a time, isn't it? And so what I want to say to you is that it's okay not to understand everything. It's okay if you don't know everything that's going on right now. When you learn something new, when you enter into a new discipline, it's always the case that you don't know everything, obviously. So I just want to let you know that as you are studying, if at any point you feel, I'm lost, I'm not really fully understanding what's going on, then just do the exercises that I have given you, which now week to week, the exercises will be very clear, like mathematics. Just do those tiny exercises that I give you every week. And be at peace with your non-understanding of the big picture. So as you put those little pieces together, there will be one magical moment that happens. There's an interesting thing about Sanskrit grammar is in the beginning, things don't seem to make sense, which is pretty much everything right now. Things are like, oh, this is not really sensical. I don't know what's going on. But after like, a few more classes, you'll find that there's this magic moment that happens because of your perseverance that you suddenly get it. And your heart sings to you, this magic moment, because you persevered, you finally understand everything. Or when I say everything, things start to click. So if that click isn't happening right now, you're starting the engine, but it's like, it's not really starting, don't worry. That's the biggest word of advice I can give to you is just don't worry so much. Don't be so bothered. In the beginning, if you don't understand every little thing that's being said and going on, that's okay. Imagine this. Panini was born into a world where everybody was already speaking the full gamut of the Sanskrit language. And he had no help. And he created this amazing Ashtadhyayi out of nothing. So it's okay if you don't understand everything. Soon this thing will start to dawn upon your mind. It happens when you learn anything new. While you all are learning Sanskrit grammar, I am trying to teach myself computer programming. And I'm finding the same thing is going on with computer programming. I'm not understanding everything that's being taught to me, but there are little exercises that I'm being given. Print this here, add this here, and I'm just doing those exercises. And I'm finding that as I go through those exercises, slowly things are starting to make sense as I do them over and over and over and over and over. So repetition is a way that you can learn almost anything. Make flashcards, repeat certain things before you sleep. All of these various ways of learning things are going to help you be at peace with your non-understanding of the big picture, and slowly you will reach that magic moment when you realize, oh my gosh, I get it. Whoa, I understand what's going on. So you all learn Sanskrit grammar, I will learn programming, and we'll see where we end up in some time. So now we start taking a look at this process of cleaning up these new things, these new babies that have been born. Okay, so let's go. Okay, here we are. Now, okay, before we get there, let me not scare you. Before we get there, the name of this process of cleaning up the dhatus, or cleaning up anything that is born, dhatus get born, pratyayas get born, and you have to clean them all up in the same way. That name of the process of cleaning is called it sangya. It sangya. So I'll show you a new picture here. There it is. And at the top of the screen, you can see it says it sangya prakaranam. So let me make my little pointer red so that I can help you here. This piece here, that is called it sangya. That is the name of the process of cleaning up a newly born dhatu or a newly born pratyaya. All right. Now, I'm not sure why everybody's raising their hand right now. No need to raise your hand. Keep your hands down. We'll get to questions in a few minutes. All right. So the first sutra, if you have the Ashtadhyayi with you, now I have uploaded the PDF of the Ashtadhyayi onto the Google Drive, and many of you may have bought it. These are two different editions of the same book, so I'll tell you what page to look at here. If you are looking at the brown Ashtadhyayi book, which you would have bought from online, then you can turn that book to page 41. That's the brown colored Ashtadhyayi book. the physical one that should be in your hand. Turn it to page 41. And if you are looking at the one I uploaded online, then that's a PDF. So the page number of the PDF itself is page 59. So you can turn to page 59 of the PDF. Or if you're looking at the page numbers of the book in the PDF, then the page number of the book is page 9 in the PDF. Okay? Is page 9. So flip that open. And in case you don't have either the Google Drive version or the physical book, no need to worry because it's on your screen right now. so don't be afraid that, oh my, I don't have the book, I don't know what's going on. I have put that relevant section on your screen. As I said before, Panini has divided his Ashtadhyayi up into something called as prakaranas. Prakarana means a section. So he's divided into little sections where he performs a single operation. So here we perform a single operation which is called it sanya, the cleaning up procedure. All right. Sanya, you know, means name. And it is the particular name we will be applying to little things in order to get rid of them, like putting soap on your hands. And the soap attaches to the dirt particles on your hands. And when you wash it, then the soap also gets removed, and so does the dirt. So that's what we're about to do for these dhatus. So the first sutra that we are going to look at is this sutra right here. Is this one right here. All right. This sutra says, Upadeshe janunasika it. Maybe you can repeat after me. I will say it once and you say it once. Upadeshe janunasika it.
Upadeshe janunasika it.
If that's too long for you, let's do this like this. Upadeshe janunasika it.
Janunasika it.
Okay, great. This sutra, this is another sutra, tells us something. It does a particular operation. So let's break it up into its little parts here. Upadeshe. This is the first word of this sutra. Upadeshe. That means in the Upadesha. We already said what Upadesha means. It means the teaching of Panini, also known as anything written by Panini. So in the Upadesha, which means anywhere in the Dhatu Patha or in the Ashtadhyayi, in that Upadesha, ach. If you find an ach, and remember ach means all of the vowels. A, I, U, R, R, E, O, I, O. And all of their combinations. Any ach that you ever find in the Upadesha, Anunasika. Remember, we saw this word before also. Anunasika means nasalized. So these three words put together mean in Panini's Dhatu Patha or in Panini's Ashtadhyayi, if you find any vowel which is nasalized, then, so now the question is, so what do we do with that? Okay, we found a vowel which is nasalized. Now what? It. You name it as it. It is a marker, okay? It is this little marker that you attach. It's like a little flag. It's a flag that you attach to any vowel, thanks to this sutra, any vowel which is nasalized. So let me give you an example. And the homework this week is going to be perform this operation on as many things as I give you, which is going to be many, 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 many things. Perform this operation along with the next one we will learn on all of the little dhatus that I give you, attaching this little flag, this little marker called it onto those dhatus. So let me give you an example here. So let's see one that we already saw. Patl. This is the example that we saw. Now here you can see I have put that nasalization on top of the lr. Lr is a vowel and it is nasalized because of this dot on top of it. Patl is how it's pronounced. Patl. It's a really weird pronunciation. So in case it's not something you can easily say, don't worry. So patl here, because of our sutra, Upadeshe, this is a Upadesha because it's directly said by Panini. Ach, here we find an ach called lr. Anunasikaha, it is also Anunasika because it's nasalized, you can see here. So, because of our sutra, Upadeshe Janunasika it, we give that it marker, that it flag to this lr. So let me draw it for you, so you can visualize what it looks like. We get this little flag here that attaches to the lr. There's a little flag now that's attached to the lr. And that flag says it. Okay, now we have named that lr as it. This is so now that when you see this patl, the lr that's inside that dhatu is like waving to you saying, I am it, my name is it, hello everybody, hello world, I have a new name and it is it. We'll see what to do with that it later. Let me give you another example. Pathan. Pathan. This is a dhatu which is given to us by Panini in the dhatu patha, so it's part of the Upadesha. It has an ach here which is the a that follows the ta, and that a is a nasalized a, so this is pronounced pathan like that, and therefore that a, thanks to our sutra, gets this marker called it. But now you may be wondering, wait a second, where do I put this flag? I don't see the anywhere. I can't put it on the ta. That doesn't make sense. That is why we learned the Anupurvi. Do you remember the Anupurvi? Anupurvi was when you take apart the letters and write them letter by letter. So let's do that for Pathan. It's pa, a, ta, and plus the nasalized You see that? Okay, so now very clearly we have put out every single individual letter of this patha. And so now we can very easily, clearly put the it marker on the vowel which is nasalized. Which vowel is nasalized? The ending So now we take our red pen and we put this giant flag on and that flag has this word it written inside it. Okay? Now it's pretty obvious. I mean, I don't think I have to explain it more, this Upadeshe Janunasika It. That's sutra number 1. Now we'll very quickly see one more sutra so that I can give you homework properly.
So after adding it, how will you pronounce it?
Once you add the it sanya, that's just a name. It's still pronounced patha, but we have just named it as, we've just named that as it.
But patata, patati,
No, nothing like that. We are only at the process of the dhatu has only just been born. We haven't yet actually done anything with it. We're just cleaning it up so that we can do things with it later. Then the mother can go and show off her baby to all her friends. Look, my baby was born. Then they say, wow, that's a beautiful baby. And the mother says, you don't know what it looked like when it was born. But yes, my baby is beautiful. The baby is the most beautiful thing to the mother. Okay, so now we see our second sutra here. Halantyam. So let's break this apart the way we did for Upadeshe Janunasika It. Hal, antyam. As simple as that. And we get this process called anuvritti, which takes a word from the previous sutra and brings it into this sutra. So we've got 2 words that are coming from the previous sutra that are coming into this sutra. Upadeshe and it. Upadeshe. In the Upadesha, in anywhere Panini has said, hal, now we're talking about consonants. Any consonant that you find, antyam, at the end of the Upadesha is called it. So we come back to our little examples here. Now let's see. This is the last one before we end. All right. Ni. So let's do the Anupurvi. Ana. E. Nya. Now here we find that the ending letter of this Upadesha, which means that which was given to us by Panini, is a hal. And we remember hal means all of the consonants. As a result of that, what will happen? This ending hal will be given the name it. So we have learned now 2 things. We have learned that anywhere in the Upadesha, anywhere Panini has said a dhatu or a pratyaya, if that Upadesha includes any vowel, an ach, that is nasalized, then that nasalized vowel is it. It's given this name, it. We're adding the soap right now. Okay, this is the soap. Later we will wash it. But first let's learn to put the soap. A first grader learns that scrubby bubbles. I don't know if you ever did that. When I was little, we learned this thing, how to wash your hands. So right now we're learning how to wash our hands. Okay, so the first step is putting the soap. So we've learned anywhere that there is an ach, which is nasalized, anunasika, it gets this marker called it. And anywhere there is a hal, which comes at the end of the Upadesha, then that hal is also called it. That much we have learned today. And so the homework will be, I'll give you 100 of these things, and you go through them and you find which letters are given the it sanya. Which letters are given this name, it, this marker, this flag, it. Okay. So that's where we have to end for now. Let me see the chat, please. Okay. Just scroll down a little bit. Is there logic in how pat plus sun gets arranged as pipatisha? Yes, of course there is logic. We have it has gone through so many different transformations, chemical reactions, as I said, which are all defined in the Ashtadhyayi. So we'll see how all that happens later. But for now, I was just giving you an example of what happens when you have added that san pratyaya there, and that it gets the name dhatu. That was the important point. What happens if we don't get the click till all 20 lessons are over? That won't happen. I promise. We'll make sure you get that click. So don't worry. Okay, keep going down. What is the symbol at the end of Upadeshe Anunasika It? 3. Yes, that was a number 3. You are right. You saw a number 3 there. The numbers there at the end are the number that this sutra has when you study it through a different method called the Siddhanta Kaumudi method. There's another textbook which has all these same sutras in it that arranges them in a different way. So for your reference, if you ever read the Siddhanta Kaumudi, then you will know which number this sutra is in that book. So it's just a reference marker. You don't need to worry about that at all. Okay. Anupurvi for Patlar, please. Okay. So it's like creating a class. Awesome. So I see we've got some programmers in the. So Anupurvi for Patlar, it's P, A, T, and Lr. So that Lr is the one that gets the it marker. Okay, keep going down, keep going down, keep going down. No. It was said words like Pat, Patlar, Chate, Ata is all coming under 1.3.1. It doesn't start with bhu sound. Oh, that's not what it means. Start with bhu means there's a big list, and the first thing in that list is called bhu. So not every single one of them is going to start with the bhu sound, of course. Bhu is just the first member of that list. But all members in the list are given that same name as dhatu because the list begins with bhu, not because each sound begins with bhu. Okay, keep going. All right, keep going. Even if it occurs in the middle of the word, yes, that's a great point. Yes, if it occurs in the middle of a word also, that nasalized vowel will be given the it name. That's very important. The ach has to be at the end or anywhere. No, it can be anywhere. The ach can be anywhere. That word antyam, which means the ending, is only said for hal. It's not said for ach. Ach can be anywhere. Sorry for not making that clear. Okay, is it based on ganas? No. Keep going. That's it. Excellent. Great. Now let us conclude. So the homework will be, I'll give you a big list of these dhatus, and they will have either they'll have nasalized vowels and they'll have hal, the consonants at the end of each one. So when you see those, then you know to name them as it. Yes.
When both of them are getting it, then why two different sutra? I mean, why two different categories? They both could be put together.
Because the way in which to name it as it is very different. Hal antyam is very different from ach anunasika. These are two different ideas altogether. That's why there are two different sutras. If you remember from the definition of a sutra, it has to be alpaksharam. It has to be as small as possible. And it has to be asandigdham. It has to be not confusing. If he had put these two ideas into one sutra, it would be too confusing. So he split the two ideas into two separate sutras. Now we have learned 2 of these sutras, and there's a total of 8. So we'll learn the rest 6 next time, and then we'll know what to do with them also. Once we have named them as it, what do we do? That we will see also next time. Okay? So for now, this week's homework will just be naming. I see someone asking, what is Anupurvi? That comes from our previous classes. I hope you can know, but I explained it in this class also. It means separating each letter by letter. All right. So let's conclude. Please put up the concluding mantra. And if you have questions, don't forget, you can always ask them in the discussion forum. That's the purpose of the discussion forum. So please, in case you have questions which were not answered, feel free to put stuff up on there. I will be checking it every few days. This week I was a little busy, so I checked it only at the end. But just keep discussing on there. That's how our class will be complemented. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you everyone. See you next week